non-Brexiteer leading the country. And this, again, will be fundamental in this whoever becomes the next Prime Minister. The Daily Mail says mistrust has warned the Tory right that it risks handing Rishi Sunak the keys to number 10 if he fails to unite behind. Okay. Back me or it will be Rishi. I remember, what was it they used to say? Vote Lib Dem and get Labour into number 10, isn't it? The Sun has a picture of Mo Farah saying, "I'm not Mo Farah." Again, talking about the documentary that Mo Farah has done, which is going to come out soon. The Sun leads with the revelation by former Olympic champion Sir Mo Farah in a BBC documentary that he was illegally smuggled to Britain as a child and made to work as a servant. The athlete has said his real name is in fact Hussein Abdi Kahin. Hussein Abdi Kahin, that's his real name. You know what? I actually saw this particular story, right, on the Friends page on Facebook. So my initial thought was, okay, is this one of these situations where, Ghanaians would say through a connection, man. And I'm sure everybody that knows, when you use the term connection, everybody knows what that entails. But this seems to be totally the opposite. According to Mo Farah, he came here to look after family members' children, or a family, a person, a baby from another family, looking after another family's children, according to Mo Farah. So he was smuggled into this country. And we are going to wait patiently for that documentary. But I will play you a snippet from the documentary. The Eye also leads with that, said the same story. Say Mo, I'm not who you think I am. And then just at the top of the Independent, Conservatives, Sunak hits back after rivals challenge him on tax. Leadership timetable revealed candidates will need support of at least 20 Tory MPs by a deadline today to stay in a race. First round of voting for contenders starts tomorrow. So the next Tory leader and PM set to be announced on September 5th. So Boris Johnson is here till September 5th. All right, let's look at the Mirror. The Mirror also leads with the same story with Mo Farah, saying that I was trafficked as a child. Let's look at the Guardian. The Uber whistleblower, I'm exposing the system that sold people a lie. And I mean, I spoke about this yesterday. This is to do with Uber. So if you didn't listen to the show yesterday, what happened was, so Uber actually were able to influence top politicians with the likes of President Macron, who actually said he was going to change policies to favor them, right? And it's funny. It's funny because Uber right now, I think, has gone through, a change of people at the helm of affairs. So people running it, there's been a change. But they're now saying that their values now, it's not the same values that, it's not the same values since the beginning or the inception of Uber. And which I think is absolutely ridiculous, because this is why a lot of people hate big organizations, and people will keep banging on about capitalism and so on and so forth, right? And this is a prime example. So you have an organization lobbying. They weren't lobbying. It's corruption. They paid over 90 million pounds or euros. 90 million. I'm sure it was 90 million pounds or dollars. One of them. Anyway, it was a huge amount of money to get favorable policies, which helped them, in effect, to disrupt the taxi industry. And again, I say it's not only peculiar to, to Africa. When it comes to Africa, it's corruption. When it comes to the Western Hemisphere, is lobbying. Nothing about lobbying. Corruption. The Guardian also says Tories take a fast track to replace Prime Minister. Okay, let's look at the Metro. Now, I was actually fuming listening to one particular broadcaster this morning, whom I won't mention their name or mention the organization that he works for. So there is a dinghy boat. The dinghy boats, obviously, you have migrants who are looking to cross from France, looking to cross the English Channel to the UK. And this particular presenter actually counted the migrants, and which, I mean, there is a connotation to this, right? There is a connotation to this. There is he's projecting something, which really, really made me feel uncomfortable. So these are migrants, and he made the point that they were all men, young men. So alluding to the fact that these are economic migrants, not necessarily fleeing from war-torn countries. So there is the dinghy boat, and the Metro has it in red print, and still the boats come. Dozens of migrants carry an inflatable across a French beach on their way to the UK from the Metro. It also has a picture of the former Formula One boss saying that Bernie in 400 million tax dodge. The Telegraph has a picture of Sajid Javid, who's also vying to become the next prime minister. The Telegraph reports that Britain could see its first ever national heat wave emergency this weekend. The temperatures expected to reach up to 40 degrees. As I was saying, 40 degrees. The paper says that senior officials held a crisis Cobra meeting in Downing Street on Monday, and that schools, travel, and health services are all expected to be impacted. So I said this yesterday, right? If you're heading out and about, it is warm out. It's really, really hot, okay? Can you imagine? It's actually hotter than a lot of African countries. This is the UK. So if you're traveling, tube, train, buses, Uber, whatever it is, wherever you may find yourself, make sure you have yourself a bottle of water that you'll be sipping, because it does get really, really hot. We don't want to hear any of our listeners or viewers, in the crisis, fainting or collapsing. All right? So do look after yourself. The Daily Express also focuses on the heat wave, saying that heat wave is risk to life. And listen, let me say this actually. So for especially us black people, right? We tend to think that the fact that we're black and we're from tropical countries where our skin is exposed to the sun, we think we can just sit in the sun or walk in the sun, or as my mom would say, what does she say? That she wants to go and sit in the sun for a bit, right? Don't do it. If you're gonna do so, make sure you have sun cream to protect you. All right? Listen, you can. The sun can have an impact on you. Just because we have dark skin, it doesn't mean that we're immune from having some medical issues. Do not just go and sit in the sun. If you're gonna do so, make sure you apply sun cream. And the Daily Star, finally, the Daily Star also leads with the weather, saying that hot as Death Valley. So that's the newspaper headlines here in the UK. We are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll focus more on some of the stories. And I will play you, right, the clip from Sir Mo Farah. Well, the man whom we've loved, saying that he is not whom we think he is. He was smuggled into Britain as a child by traffickers. All right, we're taking a quick break. This is Jones listening to GN Radio. The time now is exactly 8:30.
When you thought you seen it all, but no. This is the height of it. London, wake up as the maestro, Mr. Music Man, the legendary Kojo Entry with Keche and the Davison Band UK. Live concert in the UK. This is happening live on the 30th of July, 2022. Time 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. Hosted by The Force. DJ on deck, DJ TQ. Location, Gaumont Palace, Dominion Center, the Broadway High Road, Woodgreen, N226DS. Performing live, we'll be having a surprise guest. Anticipate. Come and witness history in the making. Tickets available online at www.kojoentry.eventbrite.co.uk. Remember, this is sponsored by Unity Link Money Transfer. Media partners. For more info, contact 077-288-76027 or 075-2552-48643. Kojo Entry with Keche and the Davison Band UK. Live in concert. UK is powered by Davison Band and Desire Enterprise UK. So my guy, you have to date there, eh? It's a legendary thing, my lad, me tell ya. Yeah. It's the anthem.
Yo, Ghana for you what English approach my moha. Ya sweaty. Yenya emrenim fo a wen akwadare wo emrenimo a poto kasa mu ye kasa a lawyer fo entimi nuano mo yemfa ye immigration ensem nyina enko dan wo mo Fortwell solicitors emrenim akuku drofo se watna ha che ombeboa wo ma wonsa kan won krata na se wedi edro nso a eyo mo kokokra eba ne nipa setena mu ene adwuma mu nsem bia omudim akotene pa omo wo mre di mani pa bia na de enika wo mu mponi se no consultation fee.
Fortwell solicitors always puts our clients' needs first. We specialize in all UK visa applications, detention and deportation cases, student and work points-based work permit applications from both UK and abroad. Fortwell solicitors also deals with long residence and human rights applications outside the immigration rules. Don't wait till last minute. Fortwell solicitors is located at
Unit 1, ground floor, Katrina House, 58 Clarendon Road, London, N80DJ. Nearest tube station, Tempark Lane and Wood Green. Overground, Hornsey Station. Buses 41 to Archway and 144 to Maswa Hill. For more info, call 0203 3257 030. Call our 24-hour line on 0754 8701 011. Website www.fortwellsolicitors.com.
Opening hours Monday to Friday 9:30 to 5:30 p.m.
Thursday Beyonce Young Milton Keynes.
Fortwell Solicitors is regulated by SRA.
Fortwell Solicitors.
The world as we know it has changed, and so have the issues affecting our community.
COVID-19 and the geopolitical tensions have really made it abundantly clear that the African continent has to do more to be self-sufficient from an industrial capacity point of view.
Join me, Jones Awuah, on GN Breakfast Show as we look at issues affecting us here in the UK, with a close eye on trending stories across the world.
When we invest from the UK into infrastructure in African countries, that it is absolutely transparent.
With a focus on Ghana's social and political issues.
I mean, it's not about you thinking about, your money, the Sikadiya Basa, is not what our authorities should be thinking about, or officials, but rather they should think about the nation.
The Breakfast Show with Jones Awuah.
Monday to Wednesday from 8 a.m. on GN Radio.
Become a successful entrepreneur with Jackie and her professional team. Become a successful entrepreneur. Anase Base. Wami a team of professional teachers of economics, marketing, ninga omoyebi. So pesa will transform your life from a youth graduate and a school leaver. Nasa pesa woye entrepreneur. Mon contacti base. Entrepreneur no che say obia ebia wa business. Ebia uye che. But pesa woye no in a professional way. To say Oprah Winfrey and ana ya papa Kwame Despite. Base betumi ama saa dae no abem. Wɔn yɛ experts ɛwɔ coaching ɛna mentoring. Ana so pesa wo start wo business a base for bekyerɛ wo how a wo besi a expand wo business and as existing customer base. Base provides support in business plans, step-by-step finance applications and marketing strategies. Base or become a successful entrepreneur also provide entrepreneurship skills through vision and determination. Some more free consultation for Base ewo
073 99 867 417. I repeat, 073 99 867 417.
Anasa womo email address info@becomeasuccess.co.uk. Website www.becomeasuccess.co.uk. Mokohwa mobetimi make bookings for an appointment. Base anasa become a successful entrepreneur. Let's turn your vision into a reality.
Welcome back to GN Radio Breakfast Show with myself, John Awuah. Just to let you know, we are streaming live on Facebook. So if you want to switch on to Facebook, you can do so. If you want to listen to us on the go, well, you can do so on the app as well, on the Tunein app. But if you're more visual, if you're a visual person, then yes, by all means, we have we're streaming live on Facebook and also on YouTube. So we've got you covered. You don't really have. There's no excuse, all right? So get involved. Right, as I did mention, this story to do with the Sir Mo Farah. The Olympic star has told BBC that he was given the name Mo Farah by those who flew him over from Djibouti. His real name is Hussein Abdi Kahin. He was flown over from the East African country, aged 9, by a woman he had never met, and then made to look after another family's children, he says. So let's take a quick listen to what Mo Farah was saying. Well, I don't know whether he's actually going to stick to if he's going to change his name back to Hussein Abdi Khan, or he will continue with Mo Farah. Okay, let's take a quick listen, all right?
Most people know me as Mo Farah, but it's not my name, or it's not the reality. The real story is I was born in Somaliland, north of Somalia, as Hussein Abdi Kahin. Despite what I've said in the past, my parents never lived in the UK. When I was 4, my dad was killed in a civil war. You know, as a family, we were torn apart. I was separated from my mother, and I was brought into the UK illegally under the name of another child called Mohammed Farah.
This is the visa document.
Yeah, this is the visa to come to the UK, and this was the document we came with.
You would have been 9, you hadn't turned 10 yet.
Yeah, that is my photo, but it's not my name. From that moment, coming in, it was a different name and different identity. I know I've taken someone else's place, but I do wonder, what is Mohammed doing now? And
interesting, and I'm sure a lot of us can relate to this particular story. I thought it was essential to share it because he's African, and many Africans ended up outside through, going through this channel. And I mean, you've got to admire Mo Farah, because a lot of us who come to these countries, come to foreign land, especially through such circumstances, and to rise to the top. It's unbelievable, and one can only imagine, how this has bothered him. And you can tell he has wrestled with this for so many years, and finally he's come out. He's come out. So this just goes back to the likes of, I won't mention his name again, that particular broadcaster who was actually counting the migrants who were trying to get to the UK, because you don't know individuals' stories. Yes, there might be men, but nobody knows what anyone has gone through unless they share the story. And funny enough, he actually spoke about this story. But the fact that Mo Farah represents Great Britain and he's achieved so much for Great Britain, I think, that would be looked upon as, it's okay. Mo Farah is okay. It's all right, Mo, you're all right. You won us some medals, so you're okay. You represent Britain, you're okay. But Mo Farah actually came through the same route. He was smuggled here. Anyway, I won't babble on for too long. This is GN Radio, morning breakfast show with myself, Jones Awuah. Now, I want us to look at what's happening. Who's going to replace Boris Johnson? Who's your money on? Come on, let's go. Who is your money on? Who do you think is qualified? Are you expecting somebody, are you expecting a Brexiteer to lead the Conservative Party to become the next Prime Minister? Is your biggest fear the fact that if the person that's elected opposed Brexit, or as he voted against Brexit, that should anyone who does not support Brexit get into number 10, that they will change things? They will draw the UK back into the EU, the European Union. It seems to be one of the main concerns of Brexiteers. When you're listening to them, it's actually difficult, because you can tell that the only thing that these people care about is Brexit. To hell with anything else. It's just Brexit. If you're not a Brexiteer, don't go anywhere near number 10 Downing Street. This is what they're trying to say. What is your take? To be honest with you, I think my personal opinion is anyone better than Boris Johnson should become the leader. But then the question is, who? Because a lot of these candidates vying to become the next Prime Minister all served under Boris Johnson. And if we're removing Boris Johnson from office to replace him with a cabinet minister who also supported Boris Johnson, who also defended Boris Johnson for the main reason that Boris Johnson has resigned, then I don't think we're doing ourselves any justice. I'll be sure yesterday called them traitors. Let me know what you think. Priscilla will be joining us very, very soon. Whilst we're trying to get Priscilla on the line, this is another story. The big plastic count survey shows recycling doesn't work. The organizers of Britain's biggest ever survey of households' plastic waste have called for immediate action to tackle what they say are jaw-dropping findings. The big plastic count was across a week in May. End result shows that the average participating household threw away 66 pieces of plastic in a week. Listen, I try to do my best, all right, for to recycle anything, plastics that I use and bottles, right? Anything that needs to be recycled, I do my best to do, to make sure I do it. So if you come to my house, I have, not that I'm inviting anyone to come to my house. I'm just explaining to you, right? That I have my recycling bin there, and obviously the black bin bag. So I do my best, but it doesn't seem to be working, and I'm sure you can understand why. The type of weather we've had so far, I think it's only going to get worse. But it doesn't work. Anyway, you can call in on 020-3735-8820 or 0203-286-0185 or 077-8793-9958. There's one story that I want to bring to your attention this morning that I think is important because it will affect it. Well, it affects all of us, to be honest with you. But this survey was actually done with ethnic minorities, particularly black people, in mind. And according to reports, new polling finds black Londoners are also more likely to be using savings, borrowing from friends, and going into debt. So half of black families buying less food. I want to know your experience actually with this high, the rising cost of living. So polling by Mayor Sadiq Khan has found that black Londoners were buying less food using their savings and were over 3 times more likely to be searching for higher paid jobs. Of course, we all want to be paid a lot, but I suppose this is in regards to our white counterparts. The survey released was carried out by YouGov just as cost of living crisis, which is predicted to hit black communities hardest, was starting to bite. The mayor has responded with a £2.3 million cash boost for London Citizens Advice and London Legal Support Trust, with a plea for the government to plug the rest of the £13 million shortfall in funding for advice agencies in the capital. The poll carried out between 17th and 22nd of June. It found that almost half, which is 47% of black Londoners, were buying less food compared to 34% of their white counterparts. The findings come amid outrage that supermarkets are adding security tags on every household items like baby milk, cheese, and bacon. Meat products are now being encased in thick plastic security boxes. Diane Abbott, MP, said this was a complete indictment of this government. Now, this particular government, I think for the past 12 years now, austerity cuts will have huge impact on black communities in particular. And when we normally talk about, people feeling the pinch, of course, people will argue it's a global phenomenon. There's one particular story which we'll come to shortly where the writer describes the economic hardship as, some countries will describe it as economic crisis. Some countries will describe it as, feeling the pinch. So depending on where you are, depends on how you would describe it. And once it's broken down, you realize that, black people suffer the most. This here we're talking about London. So I want to know how you're coping with the cost of living. How are you managing? You can send your text messages or you can call in, okay? WhatsApp is 778-793-9958. There's a text message from James. James is saying, James is saying, Jones, I have a job. I'm also doing part-time and also weekends to make sure that I'm able to provide for my family. Okay, there's a few more messages that I will read. That's from James. I'm sure, a lot of people are actually doing this, doing other jobs, working overtime to make sure that, they can provide for their family because everything else is going up. Inflation is high. People have lost jobs as a result of COVID-19. I know a lot of people that are still looking to find jobs, and things are very, very difficult as we speak right now. So let's hear your take. What is your experience? How are you coping? How are you managing? Do you trust Rishi Sunak to cut taxes? He's the one that put them up in the first place, but do you trust him as the man in number 10 Downing Street to suddenly cut taxes? Let me hear your take on this. Another story that I want to bring to your attention this morning, this is in Sierra Leone. It's interesting because I think it was yesterday when we highlighted the situation in Sri Lanka, where as a result of the economic hardship, citizens have taken to the streets to protest, actually occupying the president's residence and also the prime minister's residence as well, calling for them to step down. Hello, good morning. What's your name? Where are you calling from? And what would you like to say?
Hello, my name is Faisal. I'm calling from London.
What's your name, sir?
Faisal.
What would you like to say, sir?
With regarding to the new situation for the people of London.
Yes, go ahead.
It's very unfortunate, but we have to be optimistic and trust the government to look after us.
You trust this government to be able to look after us?
Yes, sir.
What makes you say that then?
Because it is a system and structure which has been working adequately, efficiently for us to come here. We are here now. We left our country, so we cannot be expected to have this, I don't know.
How are you coping? How are you coping? How are you dealing with the high rising cost of living?
It's always been going up, isn't it? If you think about it. When I was a child, it was 20p on the bus. It's £2.20 now. It's inevitable. It has to go up. It's the fiat system. We cannot deny this. We have to ask ourselves, how can we make more money? This is the question.
Well, you can answer that question then, sir. How can we make more money?
Exactly. Do we increase exports? Do we consider imports from third world countries, which will be cheaper for the locals and help the third world countries? There's many things we have to be, optimistic and not pessimistic, sir.
So, right about now, how are you coping? Because I want to know, how are you coping, or you're not being impacted in any shape or form?
In all due respect, it could be better, but it could always be better. I mean, it's like marriage, isn't it? Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's okay, but you're married, so you can't do nothing about it. You're in there. You have to be... you understand? I mean, your wife will let you down many times, but she's still your wife. This is still our government. We don't want it to be like Africa, or we don't want it to be like Somalia. You know, these people that are always fighting. We don't want this. We have to trust the people. I mean, what choice do you have anyway? What are you going to do? Are you going to start telling them, no? I mean, we go protesting and... I don't know, sir. This is my opinion.
Are you still there?
Yes, sir.
Yes. We didn't catch the last word you said.
I said we have to trust the government to be looking after us. We don't have a choice. We are independent. We have to pay taxes. I mean, it's not fair, but nothing is fair.
No, but then under this particular government, well, not this government, under this particular party, the Conservative Party, I think it's 12 years now since they've been in power. And they came in off the back of the financial crisis. There were huge cuts, austerity, to the point where people were working, zero contract hours. And now the so-called, this global economic hardship, as it's been described as, Rishi Sunak, who is vying to become the next prime minister, was the ex-chancellor, and he's the one that raised taxes. And he's vying to become the prime minister, and now he's talking about tax cuts. Do you actually believe that he will cut taxes, or this is just a play for him to get into office?
They'll cut taxes to... I mean, you have to take it with a pinch of salt. That's number one. Number two, he has to incentivize people at the top. He'll cut taxes for them. I mean, this is the only way we get trickle-down effect, I believe. But I don't think it's going to be really life-changing for the average Joe. For the average man, it's going to be 40p for every pound, if you're lucky. And you have to crack on, my friend.
All right, thank you for your call this morning. You can also call in to AFU 0203-735-8820 or 0203-286-0185. Or the mobile line 077-8793-9958. Let's hear your experience. How are you coping with the current cost of living? Let's say your take. All right, we're taking a quick break. When we come back, we continue with our discussion here and then probably have Priscilla Abusho joining us to look at some of the stories that we've discussed. Mind you, before I go, later on in the program, in the next half an hour, when we come back from the break, we've been looking at what the former Chief of Defense Staff of Ghana is saying. According to him, the economic hardship in Ghana could propagate another Rawlings, meaning this could start or kickstart another coup d'etat, somebody to come and take control of affairs with the gun. We'll be back right after this.
When you thought you seen it all, but no, this is the height of it. London, wake up as the maestro, Mr. Music Man, the legendary Kojo Entry with Keche and the Davison Band, UK. Live concert in the UK. This is happening live on the 30th of July, 2022. Time 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. Hosted by The Force. DJ on deck, DJ TQ. Location, Gaumont Palace, Dominion Center, the Broadway High Road, Woodgreen, N226DS. Performing live, we'll be having a surprise guest. Anticipate. Come and witness history in the making. Tickets available online at www.kojoentry.eventbrite.co.uk. Remember, this is sponsored by Unity Link Money Transfer. Media partners. For more info, contact 077-288-76027 or 075-2552-48643. Kojo Entry with Keche and the Davison Band UK live in concert. UK is powered by Davison Band and Desire Enterprise UK. So my guy, you have to there, eh? It's a legendary thing, my lad, me tell ya. Yeah. It's the anthem.
Yo, Ghana for you what English approach my muha. Ya swedi. Yenya emranimfo a wen akwadare wo emranimu a poto kasemu ye kase a lawyer for entimi nuanom mumyemfa yi immigration ensem nyina enko dan wo Fortwell solicitors emranimu akukudro for se watna ha che ombeboa wo ma wonsa kan wo krata na se wedi edro nso a eyom kokokra eba ne nipa setena mu ani adwuma mu nsem bia omudimu akotene pa omu wo mre di mani pa bia na de eni kan wo mu mpo ne se no consultation fee.
Fortwell solicitors always always puts our clients' needs first. We specialize in all UK visa applications, detention and deportation cases, student and work points-based work permit applications from both UK and abroad. 412 Solicitors also deals with long residence and human rights applications outside the immigration rules. Don't wait till last minute. 412 Solicitors is located at
Unit 1, ground floor, Katrina House, 58 Clarendon Road, London, N80DJ. Nearest tube station, Tempark Lane and Wood Green. Overground, Hornsey Station. Buses, 41 to Archway and 144 to Maswa Hill. For more info, call 0203 3257 030. Call our 24-hour line on 0754 8701 011. Website www.fortwellsolicitors.com.
Opening hours Monday to Friday 9:30 to 5:30 p.m.
Thursday Beyonce Yellow Milton Keynes.
412 Solicitors is regulated by SRA.
412 Solicitors.
When you thought you seen it all, but no, this is the height of it. London, wake up as the maestro, Mr. Music Man, the legendary Kojo Entry with Keche and the Davison Band, UK. Live concert in the UK. This is happening live on the 30th of July, 2022. Time 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. Hosted by The Force. DJ on deck, DJ TQ. Location, Gaumont Palace, Dominion Center, the Broadway High Road, Wood Green, N226DS. Performing live, we'll be having a surprise guest. Anticipate, come and witness history in the making. Tickets available online at www.kojoentry.eventbrite.co.uk. Remember, this is sponsored by Unity Link Money Transfer. Media partners. For more info, contact 077-288-76027 or 075-2552-48643. Kojo Entry with Keche and the Davison Band UK. Live in concert. UK is powered by Davison Band and Desire Enterprise UK. So my guy, you have to date there, eh? It's a legendary thing, my lad, me tell ya. Yeah. It's the anthem.
The world as we know it has changed, and so have the issues affecting our community.
COVID-19 and the geopolitical tensions have really made it abundantly clear that the African continent has to do more to be self-sufficient from an industrial capacity point of view.
Join me, Awuah, on G and Breakfast Show as we look at issues affecting us here in the UK, with a close eye on trending stories across the world.
When we invest from the UK into infrastructure in African countries, that it is absolutely transparent.
With a focus on Ghana's social and political issues.
I mean, it's not about you thinking about, your money, the Sikedia Basa, is not what our authorities should be thinking about, or officials, but rather they should think about the nation.
The Breakfast Show with Awuah.
Monday to Wednesday from 8 a.m. on GN Radio.
Welcome back to the program. The time now is exactly 4 minutes past 9. It is Tuesday, the 12th of July, 2022. Now, before we went on a break, I was saying to you that we'll be joined by Abu Shaw, who is the editor and publisher of the Organizer.net. The reason why we have Abu Shaw on today is because there's an article that has been written with regards to Sierra Leone. And of course, we all know the the civil war that ensued in Sierra Leone. And just as Ghana, just as the ex-defense chief of staff is saying, with Ghana, the economic hardship could usher in another Rawlings, alluding to the fact that Ghana could end up, somebody could end up, with the gun to take power, coup d'etat. And the articles say, like many countries around the world, Sierra Leone is experiencing social, political, and economic speed bumps after tough challenges in recent times. And the gist of this story is to try, is a way for people of Sierra Leone to avoid another unrest in the country. I'll be sure. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. How dire is the situation, I'll be sure, in Sierra Leone? Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Jones, and thank you for having me. The situation in Sierra Leone is really serious. It is unlike in other countries that in the sub-region or other part of the world. And I think it is even worse than what is happening in Sri Lanka. It's just unfortunate that the people of Sierra Leone are God-fearing. They are so cowardice. They are not brave enough, like the people of Sri Lanka, to take over the country.
Yeah.
Because the problems in Sierra Leone are so deep from all angles, political, social, cultural, in the last 4 years of President Bio's rule. There is no democracy in that country. Civil liberties have been trampled upon. People don't have a right to protest peacefully without police brutality. The cost of living, of course, that one, you can't talk about that. The massacres, the killing of innocent people in prisons, the arrest and the arbitrary arrest and detention of opposition politicians. It's just so worse that people don't even criticize the government. You criticize the government, you are in trouble. Only the media who are bootlicking, who are praising the government, are the only ones that are safe in that country. So everything is just so bad that I'm very surprised that up to now President Bio is in power. And when you think about corruption, it is like it's like the national anthem. From the offices of the president to the office of the first lady to the office of all the ministers, corruption is so endemic. And yet, the Anti-Corruption Commission, who is headed by another SLPP stooge, a government stooge, is just turning a blind eye. Instead of going against those who are corrupting the government, they are instead focusing on the opposition. So it is just upside down. Seriously, it is it is incomparable. Sierra Leone cannot be compared with any other country in the world. It is the worst. It's not an exaggeration. It is the fact. People are suffering, and now you see the women are rising up.
Yeah.
They are rising up. They say enough is enough because they are the one feeling the brunt. When they go to the market, they know what it means, the cost of things. And their husbands, most of them have lost their jobs. Some are working without pay for the past 6 months. Some are working, I'm telling you, the cleaners at one of the big hospitals in Sierra Leone, the Connaught Hospital, they have been without pay for 1 year. They too had to go to strike. So it is just a total mess.
I mean, the last time we spoke, I think we touched on briefly on the protest in Sierra Leone, and we've seen what's happened in Sri Lanka, and it's gained the international community attention. What is stopping people coming together to protest, as opposed to actually lean into their political affiliation?
Well, the main reason is fear of being harassed and intimidated by the police. Because President Bio has ruled the country with heavy-handedness. He has put fear in the people that when you come out and protest, you'll be arrested and beaten. So people are so scared to come out. That is why we doff our hats to the brave women who have said enough is enough. They said, you can come and beat us or kill us, but we are tired of this in nonsense, the hardship, and even the women you can see, many of them were beaten. They were beaten seriously, wounds on their bodies. About 58 of them were arrested and detained. And had it not been for the intervention of the U.S. Embassy, the UK Embassy, and other ECOWAS embassies in Freetown, these women will still be in detention. So it is too much. And now, even on Friday here in the UK, women, Sierra Leone women have called on all Sierra Leoneans to protest at the Downing Street, to call the attention of the international community about what is going on there. Most likely I will be there.
And that was going to be my next question, because it looks as if the call for people to go to the streets to demonstrate or to make noise is rather coming from Sierra Leoneans in the diaspora, not necessarily people on the ground.
Well, it's not necessarily the case. People inside the country have started raising their voices because they are tired of being scared. What happened last week is a classic example of how the women back home are now ready to take to the street. And one of their main leader, Madam Claudius Femi Cole, the leader of the Unity Party and the 2018 presidential candidate of the UP, she was arrested on the eve of the last protest. They accused her of incitement, just because the women took her as their leader. She was arrested. You see, so the protest also is also coming from outside, because we in the diaspora, we are much more safer, than those back home. And thanks to social media, things are really moving very fast, and we bless social media. Otherwise, otherwise Mother Bill will have sold that country. He will have sold the country if social media was not present, because now everything that happened, any secret that happened is in the air. So the protest is everywhere, internal and external.
How can, because I know in the diaspora it's much easier to get people from both sides, of the party to actually come together. Back home is actually much different. But the thing is, everybody's feeling the pinch. And the issue has been, the moment one particular supporters of one party, let's say opposition, goes to the street, and obviously the people who support the incumbent government will also go to try and counter the demonstrations. And isn't there a way in which there could be a middle ground where, it's not so much about your tribe or who you follow, but as a person, as a Sierra Leonean, about what it is that's going on in the country that's affecting everybody?
Yeah, that's a very good point. It's always it's always possible for the opposition, for the government in power, to have their own supporters. But I'm telling you, even their own supporters are now fed up, because they have seen the lies, the too much deception, the economic backwardness that has taken place in that country in the last 4 years. And they are suffering. Because when it comes to economic hardship, it's not only the opposition supporters who will be suffering. Even the supporters of the government, are feeling the pinch. The cost of petrol, the cost of food, and other things. So they too, they have started changing their tone now. Many of them who were boastful in the first 2-3 years of the government, they are now quiet. you know, and even my newspaper that, because I used to have a lot of attack and insult on social media because of my continuous criticism of the government. Now, most of those people are quiet now. So I'm a bit peaceful, you know. So it shows that their government has failed. The people are suffering, you see. So it is true that, to be frank, there are some of them still who are supporting the government because they are enjoying, they have all the benefits of the corruption. But majority of the people now in that country are fed up. Seriously.
Yesterday, I had Julius on the show, and we were talking about the fact that Paul Kagame is deciding, well, he said he would like to go for a fourth term in office. And I was asking Julius about democracy, and I wanted to know your take on, you know, this whole concept of democracy when it comes to Sierra Leone. Because, you know, you've had elections, we know what's happened in the past, and now looking at the, you know, the challenges that, the global challenges or the challenges, the economic challenges in Sierra Leone. Reading, you know, following the story on social media, you get the feeling that this whole sense of democracy has been overshadowed, and, you know, the frustrations of the people is, if we're not careful, we might end up going back to, you know, the dark days, you know, in Sierra Leone.
Yeah, of course. That's another important point. You know, this democracy people are talking about in Sierra Leone, as far as I'm concerned, and as far as most Sierra Leoneans are concerned, they believe that there is no democracy in that country. There is no democracy. And the president and his government, they are using democracy to inflict more pain on the people. You see him every time he's talking, the president is always talking about we have democracy here, but it is not true. Because if you don't allow people to assemble and protest peacefully without having police clearance when it is against the constitution of the country, then how can you talk about democracy? You know, and even today, the government, the Sierra Leone parliament is debating an important issue about some clauses that the government is planning to bring in to rig the election next year. So the opposition parliamentarians, they are very adamant that they are not going to allow that bill to pass. And even last week, the debate was on last week, and what happened? The government sent some of their thugs, police officers, inside parliament and beat up the opposition parliamentarians, you know, stoned them, and even one was left unconscious, one APC parliamentarian. So there is no democracy in that country. And this point about democracy is good, actually, but I think the best thing that the African government should be doing is thinking about economic growth. They should try and improve the economy. The democracy should be the second agenda. Make sure people have enough food to eat, have jobs to go to, have hospitals where they can get affordable medicine. These basic things, you know, clean, safe drinking water, security. When those things are available in the country, then democracy will work.
Okay.
You know, yes,
that's
what I believe in.
I still want you to stay on the line. I just want to hear your views on what's happening here in the UK. Because I know yesterday you said that you are a Conservative member. And of course, right now we have a few people contending to become the next Prime Minister. So I want to hear your views. But before we do so, I have Priscilla on the line. Priscilla Wickbar, broadcaster and also political analyst. Good morning, Priscilla.
Good morning, Jones, and good morning, Abu.
Good morning, Priscilla. Long time.
Yes, it's been a minute.
Oh, nice to hear you again.
I want us to begin by
looking
at the contenders, but in particular Rishi Sunak, because it looks as if he's the favorite, okay, to be elected by Conservatives and also to become our Prime Minister. And now the issue is about taxes. We all know, you know, the way that things are, the economic hardship. We're all feeling the pinch, right? And now he's talking about cutting taxes. And the question is, he's the one that put up the taxes in the first place. Can we trust him to be the same person to cut taxes?
Personally, I think, this Rishi Sunak situation, the thing is that he didn't start at the point of resignation to say that he wanted to become PM. This business of him becoming PM has been in the work for quite some time. So he's cleverly used his time as Chancellor to set up a few things that he will be able to stand on and use when this time comes. You see that he's suddenly the favorite, because he's amongst his club of billionaires, and those that, because it's the billionaires that funds the Conservative Party. And, he's within that club. And as Chancellor, he has worked very hard and well for a lot of them. And so, he stands that chance because right now, you rub my back, I rub yours, is what we're seeing. So this business of him saying he's going to cut taxes, which one? Is it the tax on the fuel? Is it the tax you suddenly put up on the NI? Or is it the fact that you are forcing us all to pay more on energy when we don't actually need to? It doesn't have to be that way. Which one are you going to cut to make yourself look good, to make yourself sellable, to make yourself worthy of people's votes? That is the question. So your question of, can we trust him to do that? I don't trust anything he's about to do, but I'm not a Conservative for one thing, so I don't have a voting power. However, perhaps Abu can help us because he
does have a voting
Conservative,
power.
so he can help us out here. But no, I don't trust him. But he's going to do what he's going to do anyway, because he was already in the planning. He was already in the making. As far back as 2 years ago, I was hearing about the fact that he was, his whole bit of wanting to become PM. And I was quite surprised by it until, of course, I understood his background and his billionaire associates and friends and wife and so on. So, it now makes a lot of sense.
Are we sure?
Yes. Anyway, I support most of what, in fact, everything that Priscilla has just said about Rishi. I, as a member of the Tory party, I don't think I will vote for him because he's a traitor, he's a hypocrite. He's the same one who was misleading Boris Johnson. As head of the Exchequer, he was the one that was refusing most of this tax cost. And if Boris had loggerheads with him because of this tax, because Boris wanted this tax to be cut because of economic hardship, but Rishi, because he had ulterior motive, he was refusing all these things. It's only, in fact, recently people have realized that he undermined Boris. So for me and some other Tory voters, we don't think he is going to win, or even though the momentum is going towards him now. But when you consider the Conservative, their history of electing leaders, the momentum always goes off as time goes on. So I don't believe, he will be the leader, seriously, because it's not fit. It's a backstabber, and beside his wealth, okay, it's not a crime to be rich because, his wife is richer and, hard work can bring. But when you work with a government, with a leader, and you don't have, you don't pay respect to that leader, your royalty is divided. It just shows how, yeah.
So if I'm getting you right, your stance is not necessarily the fact that if he's qualified for the job or not, but the fact that he was not loyal to Boris Johnson.
Yes. And it played a major role to all these problems that is happening. Because like what Priscilla has just said, he has a lot of influence with those MPs. And most of those MPs, We never voted for them. We don't even know them. It's because of Boris that made most of them MPs. And now he has used them because of his influence to have them on his side. So we, to be frank, we don't think he's the right candidate. Otherwise, this just like handing over power back to Labour. Because I'm sure Kestama will tear Rishi apart if they stand together. There is no doubt about that.
All right, let me bring in Priscilla. Priscilla, yesterday you did make mention of Penny Mordaunt, and she's actually, according to polls, she's one of the favorites, right?
Yes.
And if I'm going by what Abusho just said, that with conservatives, the pendulum swings all the time. Listening to a lot of conservatives, their biggest fear is somebody being ushered into office who opposed Brexit or voted against Brexit. So they want a Brexiteer. She is a renowned Brexiteer. And if it happens that somebody who is, somebody that sits on the fence is elected, then where are we going? I mean, the likes of Jeremy Hunt. We know Jeremy Hunt was not a Brexiteer. And here we are, we're presented, he's also got a chance. And if we manage, or should I say conservatives manage to get somebody who's not a Brexiteer in office, what do you think is going to happen? And I want to find out from you, Abusho, will you be in favor of somebody who's a Brexiteer, or you're not really that much concerned?
I mean, I understand this fear about it has to be a Brexiteer, but we also need to appreciate that where Brexit is concerned, it's happened. We have moved. The only thing that needs to be done now is that we need to, adequately address the issues of Northern Ireland, of, the contracts that have been signed, the impacts of those, and what that means on us going forward economically as a country. So this whole business of it has to be a Brexiteer, even if it's somebody that did not vote to leave coming in, that person cannot automatically make us go back into Europe overnight. So that fear really isn't for me. It's unless there's some, obviously they always know something that we don't, but I don't see it happening instantly. We've all moved on, whether you were Remain or you wanted out. We've all moved on from that. Let's go. It's done now. Let's move on. Let's just get this thing sorted out as to the Northern Ireland situation and so on. Now, Penny Mordaunt, it's good to see her come thus high on the polls, challenging Rishi. And as time goes on, we're going to hear more about them. Much as Rishi is leading at the minute, just like Abu said, there has been a slow but steady campaign about him anyway to thwart this plan. Thus we started hearing of his wealth, we started hearing of his wife and so on, and started hearing of his green card, existing, not existing, and all of that. Because all of that was designed to ensure that he doesn't, by some who do not want him, to make sure that he doesn't get into this position. So time will tell us whether or not, he's going to get there. Jeremy Hunt, on the other hand, yes, he may not have been a Brexiteer and whatnot, but we need to look at what he did as health minister. And, the NHS is continually falling apart. It's being deliberately run down so that we'll be able to make the case to privatize it. And can we really afford that? Are we saying we're blinded to what we see happening in the United States, in other countries, where they don't have the free health service? As it is now, it's a postcode lottery as to the kind of treatment that you get when you're unwell, God forbid. As it is now, it's a struggle. You go to the hospital to get better, but they're restricting us from coming to the hospital as it is. So I don't think that Jeremy Hunt, also having heard what Nadine Dorries told us, I don't think that his consideration as PM would be a positive thing as such, for the nation. So The days ahead are going to be very interesting. I see coming up, and we all have to start looking at voting for whether we can vote at this point or not. But the time will come when we can vote. We have to start looking at voting at people with sincere considerations for Joe Bloggs down the road. We can't have people who are happy and voting for being so harsh on those who can't afford it already as it is. Then we say they have to pay more for fuel, thus making sure that they no longer have a car. Then we say they have to pay more in their NI contributions. So those who are on minimum wage, which is bad enough as it is, cannot even afford the basics. The people that are going to the food banks today are not people that are absolutely down at the bottom of, they are people who have jobs. So why aren't their jobs sufficient for them to be able to eat? Because of all the other high expenses that we have to live on. So we really need to, grill these individuals and say, what are you about? Are you thinking about the next generation, or do you just belong to this club who is the comfortable club where you can't really feel the pain of the ordinary man? So, upping taxes for the ordinary man, but cutting for your friends is fine. A la Rishi Sunak, let's up it for Joe Bloggs. They pay more tax every day, but for your billionaire friends, let's cut that down. And it's not right because, for instance, I don't know if you saw this. I think it was last year, if not the year last. Probably, I think it was last year. The likes of Diane Abbott and many other millionaires said on Twitter, "We are millionaires. We can afford to pay more. Tax us more. Not the ordinary people." And the government, Rishi just went off ahead anyway and taxed the ordinary people. I mean, it's not acceptable. This is what I think people need to be thinking about and looking at when they're voting.
That is conservatism, isn't it, Priscilla?
Well, is it conservatism? I appreciate that, conservatism does not involve absolute disregard for the man at the bottom of the food chain. I don't think that's what it is. But these acts now is an absolute inhumane disregard for the man at the bottom of the food chain. There's nothing you can say about that. It is inhuman. It doesn't make sense. How is it that it's okay? You're not done taxing the food. You're not done taxing the clothes. You're not done taxing, fuel. You're not done taxing NI and increasing all the other things. How? That is inhumane for the people who are at the bottom of the food chain. And you tell me that and they are much more than those who are right at the top of the food chain.
Yeah. Okay.
But then you're okay to reduce it for those that can afford it. It makes no sense. I'm not sure that conservatism is all about an absolute inhuman practice where we just, let's just finish the people at the bottom of the chain so that only the people at the top can remain existing.
Of course, within conservatism, you have the ones that are, anti-tax or lowering tax. Abu Shah, seeing as you're a member, are you that bothered of somebody coming to power who is not a Brexiteer?
Well, I think to be a Brexiteer is an advantage, but I don't think it should be a condition because, like Rishi Sunak is a diehard Brexiteer, but look at the way he has misbehaved, and I will not vote for him. And Penny Mordaunt, at least, I think she's a safe pair of hands. Me, I will not really hesitate to vote for her because she has not shown any sign of backstabbing or something. She has been quiet. Even as a defense minister, she was quite all right. And I think she's the one that people should not overlook, as far as I'm concerned. And being a woman also, I think is going to be a big advantage for her because the Conservatives they are noted for bringing women, at the forefront, unlike Labour, And on these taxes, I support what Priscilla said. I'm so disappointed in the Tories. The Tories are known for non-tax, but since Rishi came to the helm, he has continuously increased tax refuse to cut down income and NI tax, and this is affecting the majority of people in this country, and the rich people, they are left to go scot-free without, they who are supposed to pay more tax, they are the one enjoying. So it is really wrong, and I hope the next, the next conservative leader will think about that, think about the poor people, cut down the taxes so that the cost of living at least will be much more better,
All right.
Yeah.
Priscilla and Awuah, thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Thank you very much. Yeah. It's a pleasure. Yeah.
Thank you. That was Awuah and Priscilla. Awuah is the editor and publisher of the organizer.net. It is an online publication. Make sure you do check it out. Also, Priscilla Wickwell, she's a broadcaster and also political analyst. We just spoken to both of them about Conservative, who should become the next leader. Rishi Sunak seems to be the favorite, but do not overlook Penny Mordaunt, okay? She is the former defense secretary. This was back in 2019. So amongst the conservative circles, she is somebody that, could potentially become the next leader. We're going to take another break. When we come back, we're looking at Ghana. What's happening in Ghana? A few stories, some horror stories, and something that we ought to be careful. Well, that's according to the former Chief of Defense Staff of the General Armed Forces, Brigadier General Joseph Nunu Mensah. According to him, economic hardship in Ghana could potentially foster another Rawlings. I'd like to hear your take on this particular story. We'll be back right after this.
When you thought you'd seen it all, but no, this is the height of it. London, wake up as the maestro, Mr. Music Man, the legendary Kojo Entry with Keche and the Davison Band, UK. Live concert in the UK. This is happening live on the 30th of July, 2022. Time, 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. Hosted by The Force. DJ on deck, DJ TQ. Location, Gaumont Palace, Dominion Center, the Broadway High Road, Woodgreen, N226DS. Performing live, we'll be having a surprise guest. Anticipate. Come and witness history in the making. Tickets available online at www.kojoentry.eventbrite.co.uk. Remember, this is sponsored by Unity Link Money Transfer. Media partners. For more info, contact 077-288-76027 or 075-2552-48643. Kojo Entry with Keche and the Davison Band UK. Live in concert. UK is powered by Davison Band and Desire Enterprise UK. So my guy, you have to there, eh? It's a legendary thing, my lad, me tell ya. Yeah. It's the anthem.
Yo, Ghana for your English approach my moha. Ya sweaty. Yenya emranimfo a wen akwadare wo emranimu a poto kasemu ye kase a lawyer for entimi nuanom momyemfa ye immigration ensem nyina enko dan wo mo Fortwell solicitors emranimu akuku drofo se watna ha che ombeboa wo ma wonsa kan wo krata na se wedi edro nso a eyo mo kokokra eba ne nipa setena mu eni adwuma mu nsem bia omudimu akotene pa omo wo mre di mani pa bia na de enika wo mu mpone se no consultation fee.
Fortwell solicitors always puts our clients' needs first. We specialize in all UK visa applications, detention and deportation cases, student and work points-based work permit applications from both UK and abroad. Fortwell Solicitors also deals with long residence and human rights applications outside the immigration rules. Don't wait till last minute. Fortwell Solicitors is located at
Unit 1, ground floor, Katrina House, 58 Clarendon Road, London, N80DJ. Nearest tube station, Tempark Lane and Wood Green. Overground, Hornsey Station. Buses 41 to Archway and 144 to Maswa Hill. For more info, call 0203 3257 030. Call our 24-hour line on 0754 8701 011. Website www.fortwellsolicitors.com.
Opening hours Monday to Friday 9:30 to 5:30 p.m.
Thursday Beyonce Young Milton Keynes.
Fortwell Solicitors is regulated by SRA.
Fortwell Solicitors.
The world as we know it has changed, and so have the issues affecting our community.
COVID-19 and the geopolitical tensions have really made it abundantly clear that the African continent has to do more to be self-sufficient from an industrial capacity point of view.
Join me, Jones Awuah, on GN Breakfast Show as we look at issues affecting us here in the UK, with a close eye on trending stories across the world.
When we invest from the UK into infrastructure in African countries, that it is absolutely transparent.
With a focus on Ghana's social and political issues.
I mean, it's not about you thinking about, your money, the Sikadiya Basa, is not what our authorities should be thinking about, or officials, but rather they should think about the nation.
The Breakfast Show with Jones Awuah.
Monday to Wednesday from 8 a.m. on GN Radio. Welcome back to the program. The time now is 9:42. It is Tuesday, the 12th of July, 2022. If you just tuned in, we just had Priscilla on, and also Abu Show. But we've covered a few stories this morning, particularly to do with who is next in line to replace Boris Johnson as the leader of the Conservative and subsequently becomes the leader of the UK. And we also spoke to Abu Shah because there are reports in Sierra Leone with the fear of, going back into the dark ages of Sierra Leone where there were civil unrest in that particular country. And this could easily be sparked by economic hardship, but there are internal issues in Sierra Leone. Now, yesterday on the show, when we highlighted what's happening in Sri Lanka, I did mention that we could potentially be seeing this, especially across a lot of the African countries where people are taken to the streets to protest amidst the economic hardship. Because we're all feeling the pinch, right? We're all feeling the pinch. Yesterday, also, I was saying that I would like to see if there are any statistics or database to show the amount of remittances, money being sent from the diaspora to people back home, if there's been any change at all. Because the hardship is being felt everywhere. Now, before I come on what Mr. Nunu was saying, earlier I did make mention of this particular story to do with the Minister of Agric, Dan Awuah. Now, it looks like Dan Awuah was having an interview with a journalist, right? And the journalist threw a question to him. I mean, the journalist was just repeating something that another MP had said about the man in question, Dan Awuah. And the journalist said, well, according to the MP said you're incompetent. And the fact that he used the word incompetent is what triggered off the agri minister. Let's listen to the interview. If the bits that are in G, of course, I'll do my best to translate. All right, but let's listen to the interview.
That's very disrespectful. You know, the word incompetent. That's very
Okay, let's try and start from. Okay.
That's very disrespectful. You know, the word incompetent. And I don't want you to use that word on me. If she's crazy to use those words, I don't want you to repeat it on me. You know that that's very offensive. So please, let's stop this conversation. I don't want you to be talking to me in this time. You know who I am. Do you know what I've created in this life of mine? For a journalist like you to tell me that I'm incompetent.
Oh no, please, I'm not referring to you.
If you're repeating somebody's words, it's your words as well. You shouldn't be that insubordinate. Come on, I mean politics, but you can't take advantage of that to be disrespectful to me. Some stupid woman is making those kinds of, using those words, offensive words, and she doesn't even realize that they are offensive and abusive. And you repeat it on me directly, I'm trying to put you right. I don't know how old you are, but my son will be older than you. You understand? You're the owner of your station. It doesn't come anywhere near my standard in terms of life's achievement. So you have to learn to be respectful. Don't use those words on me, please.
Okay, so just a bit of clarity, actually, because as I was saying, Dan Kwekuyeboah is actually a sports journalist, so that's not him. So Dan Kwekuyeboah was actually commenting on this particular encounter with the agric minister. Okay, the agric minister. I'm just trying to get his name. Yeah, Mr. Akoto Efriye, that's his name, right? So there you have it. Mr. Akoto Efriye was furious at the fact that he was being labeled as incompetent. And for me, it just shows the sheer hypocrisy because, you know, during the former President Mahamad's time, this was the word being paraded around by the NPP government, that he was incompetent. And I mean, he took it on the chin. I don't know why anyone would get so infuriated as being labeled as incompetent, unless you are incompetent. I mean, no one's suggesting he's not. He is or he's not, right? I'm just let you know what's happening. But let's move on to more serious issues, right? Now, the former Chief of Defense Staff of Ghana Armed Forces, Brigadier Joseph Nunu-Mensah, has suggested that the worsening economic situations in the country will lead to an uprising as citizens of West African nations, including Ghana, are boiling with anger. According to him, the leaders of nations are siphoning the state funds into their private pockets and living extravagant lifestyle in the full glare of the citizenry. In an interview, he said the trajectory continues that there will be a big explosion. Citing the recent Arise Ghana demonstration, the retired officer said there will be a time when someone with the character traits of late President Rawlings will rise up to save the starving citizens. Addressing the issue of the rising insecurity within the West African sub-region, he said, there was demonstration the other day. Arise Ghana, you don't care. You don't mind them. Another Rawlings is going to get up and cause a big mess, bigger than Rawlings's mess. If people are hungry, I get calls, people are hungry. This is not a small issue. He goes on to say they can't get enough of local food, can't get to eat, and we are siphoning their money and buying expensive cars. There will be no more Land Cruisers in Accra than you will find in Tokyo. Are we crazy or what? Or what is wrong with us? When we behave like this, you will get a reaction from the youth. It's because of anger. The anger shouldn't arise, but we are causing it, according to the Brigadier General Nunu-Mensah. And in a way, I mean, I do understand his position and the fact that economic hardship definitely will prompt demonstration because people are feeling the pinch. Just listening to what he has just said, right? Yesterday, we did report that, this is according to the news, that prisoners who were, Boko Haram prisoners, Boko Haram terrorists who were in prison in Nigeria had actually broken out of jail. And the worry was they could probably be in Ghana. And the Ghana Immigration Services put out a notice just to inform people to be aware, to be wary, to be vigilant, and they posted their picture. But my concern was this: it made absolutely no sense, seeing as these guys broke out of jail on the 6th of July, and the story was reported on the 11th of July. Makes no sense because if they were going to go to Ghana, they're probably in Ghana as we speak right now, or other parts across the West African states, or somewhere else. But coming back to what Nunu Mensah is saying, I agree. I totally agree. Now, I'm not an advocate for anarchy. Totally not. I totally disagree with that. But when citizens are feeling the pinch, when there's no money in people's pockets, when people can see politicians living, extravagant lifestyles, when money that's supposed to be used for some projects or projects that are meant to be were promised are not being fulfilled, the promises are not being fulfilled, or there's a perception that money that's meant for the building of infrastructure or some policies, then the people will start rising up. And we've seen what's happened in Sri Lanka. We saw the Arab Spring. We've seen what has been happening. Let me hear your thoughts on this. Do you think the economic hardship, especially across the continent of Africa, could pave way for people to actually take charge? Not through democratic process, but by the gun. Well, according to Nunu Mensah, that looks like where we're heading, with Ghana included. Let me read this text message. I got a few text messages here. Let me read before we bring the show to an end. Okay, so this is from Arnold. Arnold is saying, Jones, I totally agree with what Nunu Mensah is saying. Look at the country now. Is this Nanado's government? Is this what they mean by we have the men? This government has rather disappointed us. Okay, this is from Kofi. Kofi is saying, I totally agree, but just like you, Jones, I'm against anarchy. However, when the people are hungry and seeing as I cannot feed them, then I can't tell anyone how to react. God bless our homeland, Ghana. From AJ is saying, why would people want to talk about coup d'etats? What is wrong with this man? He needs to sit somewhere. He's retired. He needs to sit somewhere and let Ghana be at peace. No one wants coup d'etats. Yes, there is economic hardship. It's not just Ghana alone. It's all over the world. Okay, this is from Efriye. Efriye saying, Jones, I totally disagree with what Nunu Mensah is saying. Yes, people can demonstrate. It is their constitutional right to demonstrate. But no one can take up arms and overthrow a government. We need to stop these foolish talks about coup d'etats. Okay. I did make mention that I do not support coup d'etats, but I do understand where people are coming from. Okay, Kwamina. This is from Kwamina. Kwamina is saying that, Jones, coup d'etats or not, this government must be held accountable. What happened to the money that the health minister used to procure vaccination? What happened to the Ejapa Royal deal? Corruption everywhere. I'm not advocating for coup d'etats, but I'll surely understand if this is playing in the minds of people. I mean, look, it's so difficult because, like I said, I'm not an advocate for coup d'etats. No, not at all, because I think it just sets the country back. But in this current climate, you can understand the frustration of the people. You can understand. The president did come out to say that he's taking a 30% pay cut himself due to the economic challenges that the country is facing. Ghana right now, as we speak, going to IMF, and I think the IMF is giving Ghana somewhere in the region around over $900 million. I think this is the only government that has been able to secure such huge amount of money. But, like I said, I do not advocate for anarchy. At the end of the day, it's a democracy that we are practicing. This is what we've agreed to lead by. So we all have to tighten up our belt. If we're not happy with the way things are going on, 2024, yes, some people will say it's a long, it's too far, we can't wait that long. But how else do you want it? You cannot take the laws into your own hands and try to overthrow an elected government. Not in Ghana. Not in Ghana. Okay, let me take a couple of messages and we'll bring the show to a close. This is for Mariama. Mariama is saying, Jones, I do not want to see any coup d'etat in Ghana. Yes, the government has failed, but it does not. We do not need to have another Rawlings. We know what Rawlings came to do. Anyone else will be worse. We're now in the 21st century. Let's leave what's in the past and move on as Ghanaians. Okay, well said. And with that brings me to the close. We'll do it again tomorrow. Same place, same time, from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. tomorrow. Of course, tomorrow is Wednesday. Wednesday, we stay an extra hour. Thank you to my guests for calling in and for all the ones that sent a text message. And also the callers, the man that called in. Thank you very much. We'll do it again, same place, same time tomorrow. Until then, remember to look after yourself. It is very hot out there today, so do look after yourself. I'll see you tomorrow.